Okay, ji. Today we have this lecture number 22, ji, for induction machine, and today's topic is actually from article number 6.4 up till article number 6.5. Today we are talking on the power and torque equations of the induction motor, and then we are going to talk on the rotor copper losses and the mechanical power. And then since time we have lost approximately 25 minutes, 26 minutes. So this numerical part, we will see if we can do this or not today. In fact, I will just start it, but remaining calculations, you can do it afterwards. And then we are going to talk on the power flow diagram. So for those who have still not done anything from the previous lecture, this is the circuit diagram or the equivalent circuit we actually made for the induction machine with all the representations shown over there. This is the circuit referred to the stator. So you can see everything over here in detail. You have the per phase voltage. Now one thing very, very important which I want to actually talk over here with the numerical also, if your machine is connected in Y configuration, okay? If your machine is connected in Y configuration, then your line to line voltage is equal to under root 3 times your V phase. So here this is V phase. This is very, very important. If in the question you have been given V line to line, and I guess I have told you in the transformer part also that if any three-phase device, if there is not mentioned that it is a line to line or phase voltage, then this is a universal law that it is actually a line to line voltage. Remember this thing. And if you have certainly a delta connected thing, then certainly this means that line to line is the same as the phase voltage. This is the first mistake you do whenever you are doing a numerical, and if this voltage V phase is wrong, then certainly every calculation is going to be wrong. So please don't do this mistake, because whole of this numerical which we do has some parts. So the first part is wrong, then the error will be carried forward further. Then this was R1 was the resistance of the per phase. Again, this is per phase resistance of the winding, and this is the same winding resistance. So your induction machine was actually some resistance plus the if it is supposedly connected in Y. So certainly this one is R1, this one is R1, this one is R1. So certainly this resistance R1 is going to be the resistance losses or I square R losses inside the stator. JX1 is the stator leakage flux representation, just like the transformer, and I told you that this value is going to be a little larger than your transformer counterpart. So this is going to be a little larger than your transformer JX1, just as an information. And then these two elements over there which we discussed in the last lecture, and I told you that this RC was the lumped eddy and hysteresis losses of the stator, and I told you at that time also that these losses are only for the stator. For the rotor, they are not included over here, because in the rotor, if you remember it, we talked about that the rotor electrical frequency was Fs times Fs, or this was actually E over there, the electrical frequency. So what happens if your machine Nr is approximately close to Ns, so your slip is very, very small value. So when that is very, very small value, this value is very small, so your Fr is very, very small value. So when your frequency is very small, the eddy current losses inside the rotor are also very small. So even if you have something like Nr becomes smaller than your Ns and it is closer having some load, even in that case your S is not going to be more than like something 0.05 to 0.08. So Fr is still small. So we can't say that the Fr is actually going to be a still significant quantity at load. So we normally ignore the rotor copper losses. So you, in this whole equivalent circuit, you won't find any rotor core losses over here which are being represented. But one thing very, very important which is also depicted in this article 6.4, since this is a motor, you are going to have some friction and windage losses. This is very important. So you are going to have some friction and windage losses, and certainly some bearing losses which you are going to have when the machine is going to be running on some bearing. So what is going to happen if the machine is running fast? If the machine is running fast, then these two losses, friction and windage and bearing, they are on the higher side. So what happens when they are on the higher side? These friction and windage and bearing are on the higher side, but your slip is small. It will be only 0.04, 0.03 or 0.02. So normally in some numericals you will see it that your copper losses, or sorry, the core losses and plus your friction and windage losses plus your bearing losses, they are going to be summed up and used as one constant quantity. I'm again repeating it, because friction and windage and bearing losses, when the machine is running at a high speed, these are on the higher side, but on the same side your core losses are smaller because your slip is smaller. So when your machine is at the load, this becomes a little smaller, the core losses then becomes a little larger. So they take the sum of these three as a constant value, and in the equivalent circuit they take out this RC. So this is also done in some numericals, so don't get confused. If RC value is not given, then they normally give the value of this P core plus friction and windage plus the bearing losses or any other losses as a constant lump over there. Then in that case, this RC is not there. Then this JXM was the air gap magnetization. This is the flux which remains inside the air gap. Because whenever the power is actually being transferred from this supply, this is passing through the stator and then that power is flowing towards the rotor. The flux which remains inside the air gap is represented over here as JXM. So that JXM over here, as we talked about in the last lecture also, that this JXM is going to be a smaller value. Why? Because the air gap reluctance is on the higher side. So your LM or the corresponding LM corresponding to JXM, it will be on the smaller side. So your 2 pi FLM, which is actually equal to XM, will be a smaller quantity over there. So this branch is going to take a little bit larger value of current as compared to your transformer counterpart. Then this part over there, this is actually the rotor and this is short circuited, and we talked about, and when we referred it to the stator side, we had this A effective square multiplied by RR by S, which we represented as R2 by S. Now whenever a numerical will be given to you, you will be told only R2. आपको R2 दिया जाएगा, that will be the referred value. You won't be given A effective. Almost every question which you are going to solve in this chapter, you are not going to be given A effective. You are going to be given direct R2 and you will be told, okay, make this circuit for a specific S value. So you will make that circuit, have that S value over there. So you will be getting R2 by S, and certainly S will be something in a range of 0.04, 0.02 or whatever that slip over there. So this value can be found out, that is this resistance. And then this JX2, which is actually over here, this value, this will also be given or supplied to you. So in this whole circuitry, only one thing is variable, and that thing variable is R2 by S, which changes with the slip or the load over there. So as the load on the machine will change, this resistance will change, and the power which is going to flow inside the rotor circuitry is going to be also changed over there. Now using this equivalent circuit, if you can see very carefully over here, what is happening over there? I am putting some power inside the stator. That power goes on towards the rotor, and as soon as it passes this benchmark line, as soon as this passes this benchmark line, this power over here is called as air gap power. I am talking about P over there. What is air gap power? The power which has transferred from the stator and flowing through the air gap and towards the rotor. That is called as the air gap power over there. So this line over here, this vertical, so whatever losses are happening here, they will be subtracted over here, and whatever power you get over here, this will be called as PAG. We will just do the formula also just now. So this is air gap power. So this line over here at this point, the power which crosses this barrier is actually the air gap power, the power which is transferred from the stator to the rotor passing through the air gap. That's why the word used is air gap over there. Now using this equivalent circuit, if I can again copy this equivalent circuit and take it on the other diagram actually. So let me just take it and maybe just reduce it. So in the next slide, any questions with this G? I'm just reducing the size so I have some space. Okay. Now over here, what I want actually, first of all, I need to find out I1. This is very important, which is actually the input current. And what is I1? I1 is the stator phase current for your machine, and certainly since I am making this equivalent circuit for one phase, you will be actually having it for one phase. So this is actually the phase current over there. Now before I can find out I1 will be equal to V phase divided by the total equivalent Z of this circuitry, which is over here. So when I want to find out Z equivalent, I need to find out the total impedance of this circuitry over there. And since you know this JX2 and R2 by S, they both are in series. So certainly this means that over here, I can call Z2 equal to R2 by S plus JX2. So this Z2 is actually the impedance in series over here for your Z2. And then I have RC and JXM in parallel, and then they both are also in parallel with this Z2 over there. So the book, they have actually given us one formula over there. I'm writing down that formula directly. You can prove it yourself. Over here, this Z equivalent is equal to R1 plus JX1 because they both are coming in series. This R1 and JX1 coming in series. And next I have three elements, RC, JXM and Z2. These three are coming in parallel. So what I will do over here, let me just take this a little away. I don't have space. So this will be R1 plus JX1 plus 1 over, this will be GC minus JBM plus 1 over R2 by S plus JX2. I guess I don't need to actually prove this one. You can do it yourself because here what they have done, they have converted RC into conductance and JXM into JBM susceptance. So when you are going to take the parallel combination of this conductance, this JXM which is converted into susceptance and Z2, then this is going to be your final expression. Okay? I am not proving it over there. Since you have done CAD, you are also doing CAD over here, of course. So you can prove it very easily. So your Z equivalent is equal to R1 plus JX1 plus this reciprocal term, where this GC is the conductance, which is actually this GC is equal to 1 over RC, and this XM is equal to 1 over actually this is BM first, so this is going to be BM equal to 1 over XM over here. So you can easily find out Z equivalent. Now when you are going to have found out the Z equivalent and when you are going to plug in the value, this is very important, when you have plugged in the value I1 V phase. Now what is going to be V phase? For example, your line to line voltage supposedly that was given to you is equal to supposedly 380 volt, for example. And this is a Y connected machine. So you can find out your V phase equal to 380 divided by under root 3. And supposedly that value comes out to be 230 or 240 volts. I'm not doing calculator over here. So supposedly that is 230 or 240. So what will happen when I will divide V phase by Z equivalent? I will write this one as something as 230 angle 0 because my voltage is the reference phasor. Okay, for every phasor diagram you have to draw the reference phasor. So this is angle 0 and Z equivalent will be some value supposedly that comes out to be supposedly 0.2 plus something 0.5 J. Okay, so when you will divide this equation, you will get supposedly some value, for example, that comes out to be something 10 angle minus something 83 point something whatever value. So remember, this I1 is going to be always having a negative. And this negative is going to suggest it that it's lagging behind. This is very important. The current is always lagging behind, and this is completely true because in this whole circuitry, there is no element as capacitor over here. So it's always going to be lagging behind by whatever angle you have over there. So this will be always lagging behind over here. So this will be either something, and one thing very, very important. Now I have written an angle of minus 83 point something. Practically, remember this thing, in induction machine, your power factor, because this is going to be the input power factor, this I1 is going to be the input current for one phase. So this power factor has to be, if it is at no load, then this power factor will be something ranging from 0.4 to 0.5. This will be at no load, and this will be something from 0.7 to 0.85 at full load condition. So whenever you are solving a numerical, please every time write down, or first of all check it that your power factor is in this range or not. This is very, very important. So this angle, if supposingly this is something near about full load or whatever, this angle will be something minus 30 point something 8 degrees or whatever. And when you have got this angle of minus 30.8, you can find out your power factor. So your power factor is equal to cos of 30.8 degrees, and this will be something 0.4 or 0.5 or whatever that value may be. Okay? But remember, this value will always be negative. This is very, very important. Don't make it positive, because if you are solving a numerical and this is supposedly a 5-step process in your numerical, और आपने यही value गलत लिखी हुई है with a plus sign, then don't expect even a 1 marks for your formula or whatever over there, because that actually means that you don't understand that induction motor. So please don't do this mistake, especially this mistake of phase voltage, whatever you are using, then this value should be in supposedly R plus JX, not R minus JX, and this value should also be negative every time, because you are taking this voltage as a reference phasor. Now when you have got I1, okay, when you have got I1, which means that now you have found out this I1 current which is flowing over there. This is the total current per phase. So now this current is flowing through this resistance. So this means easily, now you can easily have the stator copper losses, which will be equal to I1 square R1 multiplied by 3. 3 is here applied because it's a 3-phase machine. We are having the circuit diagram or the equivalent circuit for 1 phase over there. So whatever losses you encounter in this resistance, I1 square R1, you are going to multiply it by 3. So this is going to be the total stator copper losses. SCL here stands for the stator copper losses of your machine. And if your the core losses over here, this one, if your core losses are not lumped together like this, as I told you just now, that if your core losses are not lumped together and given as a constant value, then this RC can also be found out. So your core losses of your machine will be equal to, now in the book they have given a formula which is equal to 3E1 square into GC. Now this can also be written as 3E1 square divided by RC. It's totally up to you. You want to use RC or GC. What is RC? RC is this resistance corresponding to the eddy and hysteresis losses. And why they have used E1? Because E1 is the voltage. And if you are asked to find out E1, कोई बताएगा मुझे what is the difference between V phase and E1 here? G, what is the difference between V phase and E1? E1 is the voltage, supposedly, if I just maybe just zoom in a little. This is the voltage at this point, so this is my E1. G, what is the difference between V phase and E1? Which is higher? बड़ी value किसकी है? V phase की, E1 की. V phase is this value. E1 is this value. Of course, V phase is the input voltage. So after getting a drop here and after getting a drop here, you are going to get E1 over there. So if you are asked to find out first of all E1, then what you will do, you will find out E1 equal to V phase minus I1 R1 minus I1 X1 and certainly. And this equation has to be solved in phasor form. This is very important. So you are going to always get this in phasor form and find out E1, but you are only requiring magnitude. So when you will have the phasor form, then you will find out the magnitude over here. So when you have got E1, then you can use this 3E1 square GC equal to or 3E1 square divided by RC over here. So when you have got this P core, so now what you have two losses, stator copper losses and the core losses over there. Now, as I told you in this diagram, that what happens over here, you are putting some power through the stator. I am only interested in P at present. I am not interested in Q, remember. So the losses which are happening over here, these are the stator copper losses. The losses which are happening over here, these are the core losses over there. So now the power which is going to enter this line on the right hand side, as I told you, this is going to be called as air gap power. So now we can easily find out your air gap power, this PAG, which is going to be called as air gap power, and this air gap power is going to be equal to certainly some input power. And we are still not calculated the input power. I will give you the formula just now. Minus stator copper losses minus P core losses over here. And for input power, G, what will be input power equal to? ये हम कर चुके हैं in the lecture number 18 or 19 I guess. तो मुझे बताएगा input power कैसे निकालेंगे? ये एक फेज का होगा. What about 3 phases? You have to multiply, but also the power factor. Remember, you have to calculate the total power. So this will be 3 into V phase into I1 multiplied by cos of theta. The angle theta is this same angle which we have found out over here. So don't do this mistake. Don't miss this 3. Don't miss this cos of theta over there. This will be your input power. So you whatever phase voltage multiplied by I1 into cos of theta into 3. And if you are a little person who can actually go with the, so you can even use this one over here, this formula with line to line voltage. But I guess the easy way around is it you can always use this one because you already have V phase and I1. So you can easily find out your input power. So now when you have got your input power, you have got your SCL, you have got your P core, and you subtract all these things, you have now air gap power. Now what is this air gap power? This air gap power is the power which is entering this line over here, and when it enters this line on the right hand side, this is always going to be consumed inside this resistor because active power always goes inside a resistor. It does not go inside the inductance or reactance over there. So this means that all of this air gap power will be consumed inside this resistance over there. And what is that resistance value? That resistance value is R2 by S. So this means that now I can write down my air gap power equal to 3 times your I2 square R2 by S. Remember, this is not I1, this is I2. This is very important because here you have, this one was I1, this was the current flowing over there. This one is I2 or IR, you can actually take any of these two terms, and this one is I0. So when you have found out I1, you will have to first of all find out I2 by current division rule because you already know your RC, you already know your JXM, and you already know your Z2. So you can easily find out I2 over there. So this will be a little difficult task over there because now you have 3 branches and you have to find out the branch current, that is I2 current over there. So you can combine RC and JXM as one impedance and the next impedance. So your circuitry will be something like this over there. So you have I1 current entering over here, and here in this branch you will be having, this is RC, this is JXM, and here you have that resistance and inductance. So this is R2 by S, this is JX2. So here this branch is I0, this branch is I2. So I hope you can easily do the current division rule over here and find out I2. Please do practice of this one in all of the numericals. Otherwise, if you are just going to rely on your CAD course and say, okay, we can find out this I2 at runtime, this will not be possible. So please do some practice so that you can find out I2. Now, based on this I2, as I told you, this I2 is going to be consumed only in this resistance. So air gap power is equal to 3 I2 square R2 by S over here. Now, when this is air gap power, this air gap power is being consumed in this resistance. Now this lumped resistance is a variable value. Why variable? Because S is variable. Now S changes, this resistance value changes. But remember, this is not practically happening. I told you in the last lecture, we have done this equivalent circuit just for our simplification. Otherwise, practically the resistance of the rotor is still R2. The resistance of the rotor is still R2. So this means that my rotor copper losses are going to be 3 I2 square R2 because the rotor physical resistance is still R2, but the power which is actually going inside the rotor is this power. So what this means actually, that this power, that is 3 I2 square R2, is the power wasted in rotor. This was the total input power. So this power minus this power is actually going to be the mechanical power converted. I'm again repeating, since the rotor power is this air gap power, and this value will be always larger because S is 0.04. You have a smaller value in denominator, so 3I2 square R2 by S is going to be a very large value. But in practical, the rotor is still R2 resistance. So this 3I2 square R2, when you subtract this over here from this one, so what this means that your mechanical power, or actually we don't call it mechanical actually, we call it as the converted power. This converted power is going to be equal to PAG minus rotor copper losses. So your P converted is equal to P air gap minus P RCL, and if I plug in the values over there, this is actually 3I2 square R2 by S minus 3I2 square R2. So this means I can take some common over here. I can simplify this equation. So this will be something R2. I'm just skipping some steps over here. So this is going to be something like this. So your P converted, this is going to be your P converted power, and this is. Now what this is actually telling you, listen to this very carefully now. This P converted power is now having R2 multiplied by 1 minus S divided by S. So this means that in practically, if I can show this over here, your rotor circuitry is actually composed of two resistances. This one is still JX2, and this one is R2, and this resistance is R2 1 minus S over S. If you add these two resistances, which means if you add these two, your answer is still R2 by S. But we know R2 is the practical rotor resistance per phase. So this means R2 plus this value is going to be R2 by S. So what this means that at this point, your P air gap power is actually going to be converting inside. So over here, let me use another color. So in this resistance, your power which is going to be dissipated here is going to be RCL, and this power which is going to be used over here is actually going to be your converted power that is converted into mechanical motion. So this equivalent circuit which we have done just in the previous class over here, what we are doing over here now, we are converting this R2 by S into, so if I can just let me change this one. I'm now taking something off of this one. So when I have this resistance over here, let me just take this off, and so what I have now, so this resistance 1 and second resistance over here. So now your R2 by S is being converted into, first of all, R2, and this is R2 1 minus S over S. So what happens now, this resistance is taking the power that is rotor copper losses. This is taking the power which is P converted. So here at this point, your air gap power came inside the rotor and it was converted into two parts. One is the RCL, other one is the P converted. So now this is also telling you that this resistance, if S changes, this resistance changes. So the mechanical power being produced also changes because the machine is being loaded or being having a load more or load less. This resistance will change. So this P converted over here is equal to this resistance over there. So now you can now have the equivalent circuit written in this form. Previously it was just R2 by S. Now this is R2, this plus this value over here, that is R2 1 minus S over S. So this is your mechanical power converted. So practically now your machine is still having R2, practically it is still having JX2, but this is the rotor load, that is the mechanical load. So what we have done here, the mechanical load is converted into an electrical resistance over there, and that resistance is over here equal to R2 1 minus S over S in this case. Now again from this formula, if you see very closely over there, this formula, that is RCL, and this formula P air gap, the only difference in them is this S. The only difference in these two formula is S. So can I write down over here that PRCL is equal to S times PAG? If you multiply S by P air gap, you are getting over here. And this formula also tells you that as the slip of your machine increases, your rotor copper losses are going to increase. Why? Because more current is flowing towards the rotor, more losses are happening. Because the motor, S means more, that the motor is being loaded more. So this S is going to increase, so your rotor copper losses. So based on this one, now you can even write down P converted. Now this formula, you can write it on as P air gap minus P RCL. So you can put in the formula of this RCL over there. So this becomes 1 minus S into P air gap. So this your P converted. This one, very, very important formula. So this is the converted power into 1 minus S, brackets close, P air gap over there. So all of these formulas are here, and now what we have found out up till now, we started from the stator copper losses, we started with the core losses. I told you, you can find out E1 by using this equation. You had air gap power was equal to input power minus stator copper losses minus P core, and then the power which was flowing towards the rotor, we called it, and it was being consumed inside the mixture of these two resistances, which was R2 by S, and this is P air gap power. The rotor copper losses are based on the physical value of R2. So this is 3I2 square R2, and if you subtract over here like this, you are going to get the P converted power. So this means that this P converted is equal to 1 minus S into P air gap, and this is a very important formula. And based on this one, now when you have got your P converted, your P output is going to be equal to P converted minus P friction and windage minus P miscellaneous. You can call this also as straight. So the lumped value of friction and windage, which was given to you here, when I talked about this one, I told you that sometimes P core plus this one are lumped together. But if they are not lumped together, RC is there, so this P core will not be there. So only P friction and windage plus bearing, which are miscellaneous losses or stray losses, they will be given to you as a constant value, and you can subtract them over here and these two values and P converted. So based on this P out is now going to be your output power of your mechanical, that is the converted power into mechanical over here, this one. Now, since this is a motor, I'm not interested in power over there every time. I am interested in the torque. Okay? So this means I need to convert this power into its torque. So we know the formula, that is P is equal to tau omega. Now, I need torque over here from here. P is known. What about omega? Now, remember one thing very importantly. When you want to use omega, you have to, since this is the output power which is being produced by the rotor, and the rotor is rotating at a speed nr, and when you convert this into omega, this is, I told you at the very first lecture or second lecture, that this will be omega m. So this omega m, if I write down the formula, this will be 2 pi nr by 60. Okay? So this means now I want to convert this formula. So this means omega m, torque actually, not omega. I am interested in torque. So T out is going to be equal to P out divided by omega m over here. So this is your total output or output torque of your machine that you are going to get. And sometimes the question asked does not ask you the P out, it asks you what was the converted power that was in mechanical form. So in that case, if it is asked to you to find out, so the induced torque, कि कितना torque induce हुआ, उसमें से कुछ friction windage में loss हुआ, कुछ miscellaneous losses में loss हुआ. So torque induced is equal to P converted divided by omega m over here. And certainly this torque induced is going to be larger than your output torque, because there are some certain losses which are happening mechanically. So your output torque is a little less than your induced torque over there. And since we have found out P converted equal to this formula, so I have a very simple equation over here. This can be written as 1 minus S P air gap divided by, and I told you very first, if you remember your lecture number 19, I guess, In fact, lecture number 20 was it. Where is that lecture number 21 or 20? Yes, okay. And I told you this formula, that was omega m equal to 1 minus s omega s. So I can use this relation now and take it over here. So this will be 1 minus s omega s. So these two are being cancelled. So the final form is P air gap divided by omega s. And remember, omega s and omega m, they both are different. They both are different over here. And omega s is corresponding to speed ns. Omega m is corresponding to speed nr. Ns is the synchronous speed. Nr is the rotor speed over here. Any questions with this, G? And certainly, since it's not in the book, but in numericals, it has been asked to you to find out the efficiency. Efficiency would be very simple. You have your output power divided by your input power multiplied by 100, and there's efficiency. Please don't find the efficiency as something greater than 100. Induction motor does not have any efficiency greater than 80 or 85%. In fact, Tesla, which is using that induction machine in his electric car, they are actually having the same induction machine in their electric car, and they achieve an efficiency of 88%. And this is, I guess, the maximum actually I have heard. The machines which I have tested and the machine which I showed you in the last class, and I told you that it's available in the Maker's Lab, a single phase machine, the efficiency of that particular prototype is not more than 65 or 64%. So practically the losses are very much large in our machines which are actually made in Pakistan, because the core is not that good. So I have this efficiency over there. Any questions, Ji? So I can move on and go towards a little bit numerical and the power flow diagram. Again, please, no talking. Hanji. I2 R2 में क्यों जा रहा है? आगे कहाँ जाएगा? In this equivalent circuit, there is no other resistance. Whenever this power is actually going to enter from here, P की बात कर रहा हूँ, active power. Active power में कहाँ consume होनी? Resistances में. So all the input power is going to be consumed inside this resistor, and these two resistors. बाकी सारी inductances हैं. उसमें नहीं जाना. I am not concerned with Q at present. मैंने Q की बात नहीं की है. Because whenever efficiency is being talked, we talk about P first. So this P, when this enters, some is consumed in stator copper losses, some is consumed in core losses or hysteresis losses, actually eddy and hysteresis, and the power which corresponds to this vertical line right of this is consumed over here. So और कोई resistance जगह नहीं है. And this is the rotor copper losses, this is the converted power over here. Again, sorry, S1? S1 और S2 में से X1, हाँ ठीक है. X1 value for induction machine is going to be higher numerically. Numerically, JX1, why? I told you that in induction machine, the leakage flux is happening inside the core. And the stator, if you remember the last lecture, I told you that whenever you have a rotor in front of you, the flux lines, in fact, let me go towards that particular slide. I told you that whenever the flux is there, this flux retains over here. So यहाँ पे आपके पास leakage flux ज़्यादा है. In transformer, the leakage flux is that flux that flows through the air gap. The air के अंदर वहाँ पे बहुत possibility कम है. So practically this JX1 value is a little higher in your induction machine, and also JXM value is a little smaller in induction machine for obvious reasons, as I told you that air gap is having a large reluctance over there. So based on this one, when you have found out the efficiency, it's very simple. You can draw the power flow diagram, and the power flow diagram, if I just copy it over here and draw it, let me just make this one. So I have my first losses over here, and this is my second loss, and I have my third loss over here, and then I have my fifth loss, and certainly, so this is my output. So this one was my input power. So input power is equal to 3 V phase I phase into, in fact I1, not call it I phase or I1, in fact both are okay, but still cos of theta. And this is your stator copper losses, this is your core losses over here. So the power which is going to enter at this point, this power is going to be the air gap power at this point, and at this point now the rotor copper losses are happening, and then this is the friction and windage losses, and certainly some miscellaneous losses, or you can call it as some stray losses which are happening. So you get your P out equal to torque out into omega m over here. So this is your power flow diagram over here, in which the power is entering from here. First of all, the stator copper losses, the core losses, this dotted line gives you the air gap power, and then you have the rotor copper losses, friction and windage, and miscellaneous and stray losses. Normally, these two losses are given as a lumped value in your numerical question over every time. G, any questions with this? So I can just consume last 10 minutes for one numerical, because this type of numericals are very important. I'm just writing on the data over here. The question, this is example number 6.3, which I'm trying to solve over there. The statement written is that it's a 460 volt, 25 horsepower, 60 hertz, 4 pole, Y connected induction machine, and with the following data referred to stator. Remember this thing, this is written over there in the question. So this is my R1, this is my R2. R2 is actually 0.332 ohms. I have my X1 as 1.106 ohm. You can see the difference here also, R1 and JX1. You can see R1 is just 0.641, X1 is very large. This is 1.106 ohms. So certainly this is going to be on the higher side. X2 is still small, you will get only 0.464 ohms. XM is 26.3 because this is the parallel branch, and they have told us that the friction and windage plus any miscellaneous losses are given as 1100 watts. The core loss is lumped in. This means that this is having the core losses lumped together. So this is example number 6.3, and what they have asked, you have to find out the data which is at slip of 2.2%. Now this is actually the problem statement over here, that at this slip you have to first of all find out. Now the first thing first, please remember, whenever a question comes in front of you of an induction machine, please draw the equivalent circuit. And one thing very important, normally students do this mistake. You have adequate, I guess, space in your answer sheet. Whenever this data is there, इस data को please write it down on the top of the page, and if it is right on top of the page, start it there. आप अक्सर पेज पलटने में ही values आगे पीछे कर देते हो. This is very important because these are like 5 or 6 or 7 different values. So normally whenever you are going to, you start it at the end of the page, आप अगले page पलटा अपने and the values are lost over there. So don't do this mistake. Normally students do this mistake a lot, and then the error is carried forward over there. Now, when you are talking about the solution, in fact, first of all, let me write down what is asked over there. The first part asked is the speed. Second part asked is the stator current, and certainly this is the stator I1 I'm talking about. Then it is asked as the power factor. Then it is asked as the P converted and the P out over there. And then it is asked as the torque induced and T out. Both are asked. And the last thing which is asked is the efficiency. Now, first of all, speed. Now, in this whole data, you have been told that your number of poles are 4. Your frequency has also been told as 60 hertz. This means now when you have F and P, you can easily find out NS. NS is equal to 120 F by P. You plug in the values. Please, anyone with a calculator, please help me on this one. So this comes out to be, this is going to be 30 and this will be 1800 RPM. Now when you have NS, okay? When you have NS and you are asked to find out NR, because what is asked? Speed is asked over there, and whenever speed is asked, I am interested in the speed of the rotor. So NR would be equal to the formula again which I told you from lecture number 21. Let me again show that to you. That's why I wrote it down. This is the same formula over here for NR. And if speed is asked in radians per second, you can also do that. So I am only asked the speed, so I can just assume that this is 1 over 1 minus S into NS. So this will be 1 minus, what is S? Now one thing very important. This is percentage S. When you will convert this into S, this will be 0.022. This is very important. Don't do this mistake. Normally use this 2.2 and the answer is wrong. So this is going to be 0.022 multiplied by 1800. Please, anyone with a calculator, give me the answer. 1700? 1760? 1760. So this is 1760 RPM. If there are some points, don't miss that point, which means I mean by इसका dots आगे भी है 1760 point भी है कुछ. Don't miss this, please, in these calculations, because when you are going to have this problem, ये छोटा सा 0.4 आपके end value को खराब करेगा. So this is very very important. Now since I will be requiring omega s, मुझे omega s क्यों चाहिए होगा? Because I have to find out torque. And in those torque equations, I have to put omega s and omega m. So यहीं पे मैं निकाल लेता हूँ before I needed them at that time. So omega s is equal to 2 pi n s divided by 60. So this will be omega m equal to 2 pi n r divided by 60. Please, anyone put in the values. Ns is 1800 divided by 60. This is 2 pi into 1760.4 divided by 60. Ji, please, omega s and omega m, give me the answer. ये book वाले ने बाद में निकाला हुआ है. Anyone with a calculator, please. Please do it so I can complete this numeric. Again, sorry? 188.4. Omega s है 180.449. So, and please don't miss the units. In your exam, that numerical of DC machine and the numerical first magnetic circuit, almost half of the class, half session ने किसी ने भी units नहीं लिखे हुए थे. So this is a very big problem. Please don't miss the units. जी, omega m क्या है? 184.36 radians per second. So the first of your speed is calculated. Now you have to find out stator current. Now for stator current, let me just take on these values and take them on the other side. So I have on the other page and let me just reduce it a little. So now first of all draw the equivalent circuit which has been given to you. So I am drawing that equivalent circuit over here, and here this will be R. This is your R1, JX1, R2 by S certainly, and this JX2. I have not bifurcated it because I am not interested in that. I am only interested in finding out my Z equivalent first. So this is my JXM and this is my R2. So now your Z equivalent is going to be equal to R1 plus JX1. Please, anyone with a calculator, please help me on this one. J1.106. So this is my R1 plus JX1. And then if you don't want to use this formula, which I have told you, you don't want to memorize it and don't want to use this one over here, totally up to you. You can easily do the parallel combination of your three resistances which you have. What is this? R2. What is R2 value? That is 0.332 ohms. Parallel with what is JXM? JXM is 26.3 ohms. In parallel with, and then there is R2, that is 0.332 plus 0.464 ohms. This is certainly J. This is also J. So you can just do the parallel combination. Please, anyone with a calculator, ये आप just calculator पे कर सकते हो उसको. Parallel combination. Give me the answer. Don't copy paste from the book. And please do the practice of this one. Hopefully by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will upload on MS Teams assignment number 4 related to induction machine questions. There will be 15 to 18 numericals, not from this book, possibly from some other book, so that you have a little bit practice from the other types of numericals also. G, please. What is that equivalent? The value is approximately. G, anyone? You can give me in polar form, or one thing very important, if you are a fan of polar form, write down every value in polar form. If you are a fan of that R angle theta or whatever, you can convert it that into in that form, or A plus iota B, it's totally up to you.
11.7.
Z equivalent?
Yes,
गलत है बुक के हिसाब से. अच्छा 11 पॉइंट, सॉरी हाँ वो ऐड करते हैं, सॉरी 11 पॉइंट 7.78 J. ठीक है. Convert this one into polar. This should be something 14.07 angle 33.6 degrees. And remember, don't do the mistake. Your calculator should be in degrees, not radians. ये अक्सर गलती हो जाती है. And before, since this is being over here, this 460 volt, I told you when it is not written, this 460 volt will always be the line to line voltage, and since this is Y connected, so your V phase will be equal to line divided by under root 3. So this will be equal to 460 divided by under root 3. Please, anyone with a calculator, tell me. This should be 266, I guess. Ji. Anyone with a calculator? जी please confirm this. 266 ही है जी. And now you can find out I1. I1 would be equal to certainly the same formula. What is the applied voltage over here? Applied voltage at this point is the V phase. So I have over here V phase divided by Z equivalent, and this comes out to be 266 angle 0 because this is the reference, and I have 14.07 angle 33.6. Now whatever value you get, this 33.6 will go up and become minus 33.6, and this value I'm just copying it from the book because no one is giving me the answer on calculator. This is 18.88 ampere. So this is your current which is flowing over here inside your machine. That is 18.88 ampere is the magnitude, and it is lagging the voltage by 33.6 degrees. Now based on this one, you can easily find out the power factor, and this power factor is going to be equal to cos of 33.6. जी please calculator, क्या आएगी value? Cos यार, cos of 33.6, 0.83. So this means this is the power factor, no units for power factor, this is a unitless quantity. And now since you will be calculating efficiency also, so I will calculate my input power here. Input power will be equal to 3 V phase into I1 into cos of theta, which is actually power factor. So 3 into 266, I am only interested in magnitude. So this is 18.88 multiplied by, since cos of theta is already known, this will be 0.83. Ji, please multiply these four values and give me the input power. 12,500 what?
4.
Point?
504.
504.
0.97.
0.97. Please don't miss the units watts. This is always in watts. Now when you have got your input power, the next thing which you have to find out, since we have done the stator current, we also found out the power factor. Now two things are left, P converted and P out. Now what was P out? P converted equal to, your P converted, as I told you, was equal to your input power minus P SCL minus P core. Now the problem here is that in this question, they have given the lump of friction and windage plus core as 1100. So this means that in this formula you are not going to have this P core over there. So this P core is not there, but I still need to find out stator copper losses. So for stator copper losses, P SCL will be equal to 3I1 square into R1. What is my I1? I already know it. This is 18.88 whole square multiplied by what is my R1. I can go back. This is 0.641. So this is 0.641. Please give me the answer. 685 0.46 watts. Multiplied by 3 हो चुका है. ठीक है. So now you can find out your converted power because P core is not there. So this is going to be 12,504.97 minus 685.46. G, please give me the answer. P converted. जी 1181.9.51 watts. So this is your converted power over here. Now here the trick over here, since after this P converted, okay, you have your P, sorry, not P converted, none of you is actually answering me. This is not P converted, this is your air gap power. Come on please. This is your air gap power, not P converted power. So after this air gap power, you have to find out your converted power. Your converted power will be equal to P air gap power minus the rotor copper losses. Now, I told you, if you go back on the proof over here, which we did over here, your rotor copper losses were equal to S times PAG. So this means you can just multiply your S by air gap power, you can find out. Otherwise, the difficult way is this, you have to find out by finding out I2 first. Now I2 to find out is a difficult process because you have to apply the current division rule. So what I will do over here, I will find out RCL equal to S times P air gap. What is my S? 0.022 multiplied by, this is 11819.51. Please give me the answer. P RCL 1158. ये ध्यान रखना 0.022 है
सर 260 आ रहा है
ये ज़्यादा बता रहे हो आप मुझे, आपने 2.2 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया शायद जी। अगेन सॉरी 260.03। अच्छा आप कन्वर्टेड पावर बता रहे थे, चलो वो बता दो जी। अब P converted, if you just subtract it, 11.9.48 watts. So this is your converted power and you have got this answer. Now, what was the next thing asked over here in this question? You have got out the P converted and P out. The next thing asked is torque induced and T out, and then the efficiency. So now you want to find out torque induced. I guess it was very easily, torque induced was equal to P converted divided by omega m. Okay, let me just confirm this formula from the previous one. Your torque induced was equal to P converted divided by omega m, or equal to P air gap divided by omega s. It's totally up to you, and you have to find out P out. This will be equal to P out divided by omega m. So now if I go back over there, what is my P converted? P converted is 11559.48, and I have to divide it by omega m. I have already calculated omega m over here. Omega m was 184.36. So this is 184.36. Please give me the answer. And T 62.61 Newton meter. Please don't miss the units. And just to give you an idea, your machines in the lab, the induction machines, they have a maximum torque rating of approximately 4 Newton meter. So this is a very, very big machine taking an 18 ampere current. So you are getting approximately 60 plus Newton meter from your machine. And still this machine is very smaller than the electric car Tesla machine, which has approximately a torque of, I guess, 170 Newton meters or 180 Newton meters in that car. So this T out, now if we come out for this one, this will be equal to P out divided by omega m, and we still have not calculated P out actually. So P out would be equal to P converted minus P friction and windage minus P core. And if you remember, we have been told that this total is equal to 1100 watts, because in the statement of the question this was told that this was 1100 watts over there. So now this will be omega m over here. So this will be P converted is 11559.48 minus 1100 watts divided by omega m is still the same. This is 184.36. Please, anyone with a
56.7.
So your T out becomes equal to
56.73
Newton meters. And you can see the difference approximately from 62.61 to 56.73. There has been a loss of approximately 5 plus or 6 plus Newton meters over there. The last thing left is efficiency. And we all know this is equal to P out divided by P in. So this is P out divided by P in, and certainly multiplied by 100. to convert it into percentage scale. So I have my P out. What is P out? ये क्या था जी? Sorry, मैंने यहाँ miss कर दिया दोबारा से. P out. G please. 11559.48 minus 1100 multiplied by this is 100%. And what was my input power? We have calculated it already. Input power was 12,504. 12,504.97 if I'm not wrong. G please. So my P out, just let me confirm. Yes, this is same. G please efficiency.
83.64.
83.64. This is a very good machine practically. So you are getting an efficiency equal to 83.64. How much time I got? In approximately 10 or I guess 15 minutes I have done this log numerical. So please do a practice of this one, and the exam don't say me कि ये इतना बड़ा numerical था and I could not do it in the exam. If you're not going to do practice, you can't do this. This is just one type of numerical. I've done it to you almost with some little changes. Almost all the numericals are related or think like this. Okay? So this is your lecture number 20.